Been laid. Questions?
The table has been advised that PQB 798 will be replied by the Honorable Prime Minister, time permitting. Honorable Navarre-Marie.
E769.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the Protection of Human Rights Act was promulgated in 1998, following which, in 2001, a National Human Rights Commission was created to deal with human rights violations, primarily civil and political rights, enshrined in Chapter 2 of the Constitution, and also with police complaints. In 2012, the Protection of Human Rights Act was amended to create 3 distinct divisions under the National Human Rights Commission, namely the Human Rights Division, the Police Complaints Division, and the National Preventive Mechanism Division. The Police Complaints Division was mandated to deal with all cases of complaints against police officers. With the promulgation of the Independent Police Complaints Commission Act in April 2018, the activities of the Police Complaints Division have been taken over by the Independent Police Complaints Commission. The Independent Police Complaints Commission has also taken over the 277 cases of complaints against police officers which were pending before the former Police Complaints Division. Mr. Speaker, sir, the National Human Rights Commission has now 2 divisions, namely the Human Rights Division, which is governed by the Protection of Human Rights Act 1998, and the National Preventive Mechanism Division, set up under the National Preventive Mechanism Act of 2012. The main function of the Human Rights Division of the National Human Rights Commission is to inquire into written complaints regarding violations of human rights listed in Chapter 2 of the Constitution, while the National Preventive Mechanism Division mainly deals with complaints from detainees. The National Human Rights Commission is thus not now mandated to deal with complaints against police officers, including alleged torture. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the National Human Rights Commission that for the period December 2019 to 7th of July 2022, 3 complaints against police alleging torture were received by the National Human Rights Commission, and the complainants were advised to redirect their complaints to the Independent Police Complaints Commission.
Yes, can the Honorable Prime Minister state the number of prison visits and police visits to cells effected during the last 12 months by the National Preventive Mechanism?
Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, this question is not related to the substantive question. This question is about the number of complaints of torture by police officers.
Minister then state whether any recommendation has been made by whatever authority to prevent torture in detention?
Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, again, this question is specific about how many complaints have been made by police officers with regard to torture. So I have answered. There have been three cases, and those cases, the complainants have been referred to the IPCC. In fact, there is another question on the IPCC with regard to complaints.
The Honorable Prime Minister referred to the Protection of Human Rights Act. Under this Act, the Human Rights Commission has an overriding duty to supervise any breach of fundamental human rights and to make recommendations. So may I know whether the Honorable Prime Minister has received any report, any recommendation made by this Human Rights Commission relating to tortures?
Well, then you must come, the honorable member must come with a specific question on this issue.
Next question. Honorable Leopold.
B770.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Commissioner of Police that in a report submitted by the Divisional Commander Rodriguez on 27th of May 2022, it was stated that the Commissioner for Youth and Sports, Arts and Culture held a meeting on 25th of May 2022 at Pau-Maturin on strategies to combat drugs in Rodriguez. 25 persons comprising public officers, representatives of NGOs, as well as police officers from ADSU, a National Coast Guard based in Rodriguez, were in attendance. I am further informed by the Commissioner of Police that during the meeting, Commissioner for Youth and Sports, Arts and Culture had, amongst others, stated that 5 kilos of heroin had arrived in Rodriguez. Synthetic drugs are manufactured by police and put on sale through minors. Informants are unwilling to give information to police because of lack of trust in them and leakage of information by police. Shortly after the meeting, a video recording of the meeting was posted on the social media, and several articles related to the allegations made by the Commissioner for Youth and Sports, Arts and Culture were published in several newspapers, both in Rodriguez and in Mauritius. Subsequently, the Divisional Commander Rodriguez initiated an inquiry to ascertain the veracity of the allegations. The police officers who attended the meeting confirmed that the Commissioner for Youth and Sports, Arts and Culture had made such allegations. The Commissioner of Police has further informed that the Commissioner for Youth and Sports, Arts and Culture was approached on 23rd of June 2022 to give a written statement in relation to the allegations he made on 25th of May 2022, but he stated that he would give a statement at a later stage. He was anew contacted on 8th of July 2022, and his secretary informed that the Commissioner would give an appointment by the following week. On 11th of July 2022, he was further contacted by the police, and he stated that he did not find it necessary to give a statement on the matter. However, he is expecting police to carry out an investigation and take appropriate actions. The inquiry is ongoing, and actions as deemed appropriate in the circumstances will be taken by the police.
Supplementary. Next question.
B771.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I shall reply to both PQ B771 and PQ B775 together. Mr. Speaker, sir, I refer the honourable members to the reply I made to the PNQ at our sitting of Tuesday, 5th of July 2022, wherein I stated in the most unequivocal terms that there has been at no point in time any installation or any attempt by my office to install whatsoever device and or equipment at any of the submarine cable landing stations to monitor internet traffic to and from Mauritius. Mr. Speaker, sir, in normal circumstances, information pertaining to national security is not disclosed. However, I'm providing certain information in order to clear the doubts and dissipate the confusion created in the minds of the people by the false allegations made by the CEO of Mauritius Telecom and the hysteria of the opposition over this issue. I therefore seize this opportunity to provide further clarifications on the matter in order to set the record straight. Indeed, on the 21st of October 2021, the Security Division of my office issued a letter to the Chief Executive Officer of Mauritius Telecom Limited to request him to provide certain information regarding the South Africa Far East Submarine Landing Station, situated at Bejakote, Belom, in the context of a security survey. The information sought related to, inter alia, location of the submarine cable, security measures put up thereat, number of personnel working thereat, including any foreign national, and the technical details with respect to the submarine cable. On 22nd of December 2021, being given that there was no response from the Chief Executive Officer of Mauritius Telecom, a second letter was sent to him reiterating to provide the requested information regarding Bejakote landing station. Thereafter, on 24th of December 2021, the CEO of Mauritius Telecom provided the information which was being sought by the Security Division of my office. On 12th of April 2022, the CEO of Mauritius Telecom was informed that a three-member technical team from India will field a survey mission to Bejakote, Belom, between 13th and 15th April 2022. And he was requested to extend all necessary assistance to the team during the survey visit. On 14th April 2022, the CEO of Mauritius Telecom met the head of the delegation, during which technical matters concerning the survey were discussed. In the morning of 15th of April 2022, I was informed that Mauritius Telecom had not made necessary arrangements for the team to have access to the landing station at Bejakote for the survey. Subsequently, I phoned the CEO and asked him to make arrangements for the survey to be carried out. Finally, he agreed to grant access to the team. On the same day, the CEO asked the Chief Technical Officer of Mauritius Telecom to accompany the delegation to Bejakote for the site survey. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is also apposite to underline that the Chief Technical Officer of Mauritius Telecom accompanied the team to Bejakote landing station. And he was physically present on site throughout the whole survey. Moreover, the Chief Technical Officer has in a report confirmed that no sniffing or other equipment had been installed by the team at any landing station, including Bejakote. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to highlight the fact that the survey was carried out as far back as 15th of April 2022. And it is only now that the former CEO of Mauritius Telecom is making baseless, I repeat, baseless allegations that I gave him instructions to allow a third party to install or use equipment to enable sniffing, interception, monitoring, or recording of internet traffic to and from Mauritius and all countries in the region. Let me restate most emphatically that I have never given any instructions, as alleged by the former CEO, for the installation of sniffing equipment, and at all material times. The question, and the only question as regard to Beja-Côté landing station, was the conduct of a survey by the Indian team in the interest of national security. Mr. Speaker, sir, I have also been informed that the CEO had at no point in time brought or deemed it necessary to bring this matter to the attention of the Board of Directors of Mauritius Telecom, despite the fact that the request for the survey was communicated to him as far back as October 2021. The more so if he had reservations on the nature of the request. Mr. Speaker, sir, as the House is aware, following the baseless accusations made by the former CEO, I invited him to make a declaration to the police. However, he has so far failed to do so. The false statement, declaration and publication of Mr. SS have caused and are causing irreparable prejudice to Mauritius, the government, my office, and my person as Prime Minister, since this represents a grave risk to national security. I have deemed it my duty to report the matter to the police myself. I have accordingly given a statement to the police on 11th of July 2022. I have requested the police to initiate an inquiry into the matter forthwith. Therefore, the setting up of another inquiry does not arise.
Monsieur le Premier ministre, vous avez fait référence à un survey. Par les correspondances que vous venez de mentionner, commanditées par le gouvernement mauricien. Est-ce que vous pouvez dire à la Chambre si vous avez fait une requête formelle au board du Mauritius Telecom? Si oui, quand et avec qui? Et ensuite, est-ce que le câble SAFE qui appartient à un consortium d'opérateurs, est-ce qu'il y a une requête officielle envoyée au consortium pour demander l'aval avant de procéder à ce survey?
Mr. Speaker, sir, the honourable member maybe does not know, the landing station at Beja-Côté is under the control of Mauritius Telecom. That is the first thing. Secondly, the security division of my office has written and communicated with the ex-CEO of Mauritius Telecom, requested him first to provide some technical information. As far back, as I said, 21st of October 2021, with a view to carry out a survey. And thereafter, as I have replied in my answer, there have been other communications to the ex-CEO of Mauritius Telecom.
Monsieur le Premier ministre, vu la gravité de l'accusation portée contre vous en tant que Premier ministre par l'ex-CEO de la Mauritius Telecom, et vous confirmez à la Chambre aujourd'hui que vous avez fait un statement à la police hier. Cette même police tombant sous vos responsabilités. Dans ce cas, vu que des précédents cas, des membres de votre gouvernement, l'honorable Colin Davelou, le feu Raj Dayal, l'honorable Yogida Sominoden se sont retrouvés dans les mêmes situations que vous, est-ce que vous ne pensez pas que c'est bien pour la transparence, dans l'intérêt du pays, que vous présentez votre démission et à la suite de l'enquête, vous revenez?
Order.
Monsieur le Président, sur un point, je suis d'accord avec l'honorable membre, sur un seul point. C'est une allégation plus que grave, extrêmement grave, qui a été faite contre moi. Et le même raisonnement de cet honorable membre. Pourquoi quelqu'un qui m'accuse de l'avoir donné des instructions pour commettre une offense aussi grave que ça, et qu'il a des preuves, pourquoi il n'est pas allé aux autorités concernées pour faire une déclaration et fournir ses preuves? Je lui ai donné quelques temps. Mais étant donné que, après, peut-être à travers son porte-parole, il est allé dire qu'il va venir de l'avant avec d'autres preuves vendredi dernier. J'ai attendu, j'ai rien entendu, j'ai rien vu. Et là, apparemment, il va donner d'autres preuves. Je ne sais pas si c'est aujourd'hui ou quand. Donc, ma patience a des limites aussi, Monsieur le Président. Donc, moi, j'ai été à la police, j'ai fait ma déclaration. Et je peux vous dire, Monsieur le Président, j'ai fourni à la police tous les documents et toutes les preuves nécessaires pour aider la police, pour aider la police à faire son enquête. Maintenant, c'est entre les mains de la police. Et on verra. On verra, Monsieur le Président. I don't speak out of thin air. As Prime Minister, I don't speak out of thin air. And I stand by what I say. But time will tell. The hysteria of this opposition, brandishing high treason. They are talking about high treason. Why don't they? Where's the high treason? There are so many barristers there. Why don't they go and make a declaration for accusing me of high treason? Just soulever les pancartes, venir faire high treason, faire joli. On verra. On verra, Monsieur le Président. I'm speaking here before this assembly today. With time, we will see.
Oui, Monsieur le Premier ministre, on verra. Monsieur le Premier ministre, vous êtes accusé de haute trahison par nul autre qu'un de vos proches collaborateurs. CEO de Mauritius Telecom en poste qui fait cette allégation, accusation et révélation. Can you table all the correspondence between your office and the Mauritius Telecom regarding the survey? Not seeking information, but regarding the survey you requested. All the documents that you exchanged between Mauritius Telecom and your office. Can you table it to the House?
Monsieur le Président, je viens de dire, j'ai donné mon statement à la police, toutes les communications qu'il y a eu entre the security division of my office with Mauritius Telecom has been submitted to the police.
It is his question.
Monsieur le Premier ministre, l'île Maurice entière est au courant que le monsieur en question, monsieur Seri, avait l'intention de parler ce soir sur l'Express. Ceci dit, il avait l'intention de parler sur l'Express pour dire toute la vérité, selon lui. Et aujourd'hui, nous apprenons à l'heure actuelle, alors que nous sommes au Parlement, que votre police est à la trousse de M. Seri. Est-ce que pour la transparence, ne pensez-vous pas qu'il était plutôt mieux de laisser M. Seri parler ce soir et à ce moment-là, vous allez à la police?
Monsieur le Président, je vois que l'honorable membre est beaucoup plus et mieux informé que moi, comme Premier ministre. Il sait déjà que la police est à la trousse de M. SS. Deuxièmement, qui l'empêche de parler? qui l'empêche de parler? Il y a, comme certains avaient évoqué, comme toujours, fake news, que j'essaie en train de mettre un gagging order. Not at all. Not at all. Monsieur le Président, j'invite Monsieur SS à venir dire ce qu'il a à dire publiquement. Je l'invite. Et troisièmement, Monsieur le Président. Troisièmement, Monsieur le Président, l'honorable membre, maintenant, aujourd'hui, m'accuse.
Oh, Honorable Juan, be careful with that word. Be careful with that word.
They don't want to hear my answer. L'honorable membre, what trahison? Mr. Speaker, sir, can this honorable member be requested to withdraw the words haute trahison?
Order. This word is not in order. So please, help the chamber, help the House. The proceeding going very well. Please, in the spirit of democracy, withdraw that word. Withdraw.
I won't.
So you have to withdraw yourself from the chamber. Behave yourselves, everybody. Everybody.
Loyal. Yes, Mr. Speaker, so I was answering. The third point I wanted to make with regard to what the Honorable Asiavanan has said. Now he is taking me to task why I have reported the matter to the police yesterday. Huh? Look at the two questions. The first question of this, I don't want to comment the Honorable Juman, is state if he has filed or proposes to file a police complaint. He is asking me, this honorable member is asking me whether I have filed or I proposes to file a police complaint. And if not, for the benefit of the House, obtain from the Commissioner of Police whether the latter has proprio motu started an inquiry by himself. Huh? This is the question. This is the question of the Honorable Asiavadan, whether an inquiry thereto would be. I have therefore gone to the police. Now, if I had not given a statement to the police yesterday, and today, they would have taken me to task today. Why is it that now you're not going to the police? Why is it that you're not reporting the matter to the police? So anyway, you will lose with them. But for me, what is important, when those allegations were made, they are very, very serious allegations. And of course, the first thing, I invited the one who is making the allegation, go to the authorities, make your formal complaint. But nothing happened. And of course, I will take whatever initiative needs to be taken. And can you imagine, Mr. Speaker, sir? They are making a lot of talking about this issue. This Mr. SS, he was aware of this survey since 21st of October 2021. 21st of October 2021. He doesn't report to anybody. They are talking about this honorable member who has left the House. He's saying whether I had communicated to the board. Whether I had communicated to the board of Mauritius Telecom. The CEO of Mauritius Telecom, who is answerable to the board, has not at any time expressed any concern to the board from 21st October 2021 to 30th of June 2022, date of his announcement that he is going to resign. That is the notice that he gives to Mauritius Telecom. There have been 4 board meetings. 4! 9th of December 2021, 17th of February 2022, 14th of April 2022, 20th of June 2022. He doesn't show at least any concern, any worries about somebody who asked him to do an illegal act. He doesn't intimate not a word to the board. And when he resigns also, you must look at his, not he resigns, his notice of resignation. I will ask them, because they have access to all these documents, I will ask them to go and read his letter. It's a nice letter. Nowhere is it mentioned that I am giving a notice of resignation because there is something which is very serious, which concerns whatever treason or whatever security of the country that the Prime Minister has of me. At least he should have put that, because you are leaving anyway. Put that in your letter. Not a word. In fact, he is saying that he is ever grateful to the chairman at the board. Wow. We'll see. Continue.
Time over. Honorable Omia.
B781, please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, based upon the guidelines of the World Health Organization, a sequencing sampling strategy was established. Accordingly, 2% of the population positive for SARS-CoV was being tested. The people tested were chosen according to a representative panel of infected patients, and these comprised patients attending flu clinics, incoming passengers, patients admitted in hospitals, deceased patients suffering from COVID-19. The choices were made according to several criteria, including fair geographical distribution, age, and clinical severity. As from 1st July 2022 and the easing of sanitary restrictions in the country, the sequencing sampling strategy is no longer being implemented. On the other hand, PCR sequential analysis is carried out on positive cases since strain monitoring is still ongoing in the country. Mr. Speaker, sir, as from April 2022 till date, a total of 1,792 samples were selected for sequencing, of which there were 39 imported cases for sequencing. The results on the imported cases received so far are as follows: BA1, 1, BA2, 25, BA4, 3, BA5, 1. There were 2 cases of failed sequencing, and 7 we are still awaiting the results. So only 1 case of BA5 has been detected among the imported cases. Mr. Speaker, sir, so far, no case of monkeypox has been detected in Mauritius. Mr. Speaker, sir, for monkeypox, there is no routine test upon arrival of incoming passengers as at now. A protocol based on symptoms and surveillance is adopted by the health sanitary officers to screen incoming passengers in regard to monkeypox. As at date, a total number of samples tested for monkeypox stands at 15. The Central Health Laboratory has performed tests on samples received for 9 suspected cases. All of these tested were negative. Besides, 6 suspected cases were also sent abroad, that is the National Institute for Communicable Disease, South Africa, and Réunion Island. These cases are also tested negative. Mr. Speaker, sir, in reply to Part B of the question, a request was made to the World Health Organization to provide us with the contact details and particulars of manufacturers of the monkeypox vaccine. On 3rd June 2022, we were informed that one commercial supplier, Bavarian Nordic GmbH, in respect of the vaccine named Imavax for monkeypox. In order to expedite procurement of this vaccine, a request was made on 6 June 2022 to the World Health Organization to provide us with 200 units of this vaccine for monkeypox.
Table has been advised that PQB 847 will be replied by the Honourable Minister of Information Technology, Communication and Innovation. Supplementary?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, can the Honourable Minister inform the House whether the World Health Organization is recommending mass vaccination against monkeypox?
Mr. Speaker, sir, the Strategic Advisory Group of Experts, SAGE, ad hoc working group on smallpox and monkeypox vaccines provided the first WHO recommendations of vaccines and immunization for monkeypox. They concluded that mass vaccination is not required nor recommended for monkeypox at this time.
Rumia?
As per information gathered and the one that you've just mentioned about the number of samples that have been conducted over the last couple of weeks, and noting that there are, over the last 10 days, I can say there are 300 nearly cases with 4 unfortunate deaths. Has genetic sequencing been carried out on those deaths so that we have an exact information as to the prevalence or incidence of the new type of COVID variant circulating in the country?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. The Ministry of Health, especially the Central Health Laboratory, is guided by the WHO recommendation for the sequencing analysis. And all, especially imported cases and patients who have passed away with COVID have been sent, the samples have been sent for sequencing.
Chimoy?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, can the Honourable Minister inform the House whether the Omicron variant he mentioned in his answer, BA5, resists to COVID-19 vaccines?
Mr. Speaker, sir, now according to the US Center of Disease Control, the CDC, and the World Health Organization, WHO, as yet there is no scientific data to sustain the idea that the Omicron variant BA5 vaccine is resistant. That is, we still have no data from these two centers.
Rumia?
We are currently experiencing, I would say, in paradox, a new wave across the world, and particularly also Mauritius being no exception. Has your ministry been involved with vaccine manufacturers with regard to what is now called the updated variant vaccine for protecting population at large due to new incoming variant, particularly B4, B5, and what next may be coming up in the future?
Mr. Speaker, sir, in terms of vaccines, so the Ministry of Health will stand guided by what would be the recommendation from the World Health Organization. So far, we have already attained a very, more than 90% of our adults have already done the vaccine, and we are promoting vaccination to be done, especially for the elderly, for those who are above 60 years, for those who have comorbidities. And then obviously when time comes, if ever there is another new vaccine, so that we should give the population another, again, to revaccinate the whole population, we will be go according to that stand.
Luchit?
B782. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the District Council of Pamplemousse that the type of drain at Maheshwar Nagri Road, Triolet, is an absorption drain with no outlet. The drain is being regularly cleaned by the Council's scavenging contractor, Norba Limited, and was last cleaned in April 2022. During heavy rainfall, whenever the absorption capacity of the said drain reaches its maximum, the surplus surface runoff causes accumulation of water. Mr. Speaker, sir, unfortunately, the existing absorption drain at Maheshwar Nagri Road, Triolet, no longer fits its purpose, and therefore consideration is being given in this financial year to construct a proper drain network accordingly. In this respect, the District Council of Pamplemousse will be carrying out a survey and submit a proposal to the Land Drainage Authority for consideration under the National Flood Management Programme.
Supplementary.
Is the Minister aware that the drain found at Maheshwar Nagri Road, Yole, is the only drain that can canalize the excess flood water found on the main road during heavy rainfall? And what measures will the Minister take so that these problems do not occur again and the residents are no longer stressed on the wake of heavy rainfall?
Mr. Speaker, sir, this is what I said in my main reply. We do acknowledge that the absorption drain first has no outlet, and that during heavy rainfall it reaches its maximum capacity, and it is because of the surplus surface runoff that we have accumulation of water. And it is for this reason, Mr. Speaker, sir, that I have said in the reply that it no longer fits its purpose, and therefore we are giving due consideration during this financial year to construct a proper drain work in that region.
B783.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Central Water Authority that La Nicolière treatment plant was constructed in the years 2000 to 2002 and was commissioned in August 2002. The plant receives raw water from La Nicolière impounding reservoir, which is itself fed from rivers within its catchment. During dry season, water is released from Midlands Dam to cater for the shortfall in the level of La Nicolière reservoir. The actual treatment plant treats on an average of around 78,000 to 80,000 meter cube per day and uses rapid gravity filter where water is filtered with silica sand as filtering media at La Nicolière water treatment plant. Mr. Speaker, sir, due to relatively high turbidity of the raw water at La Nicolière reservoir and the reduced effectiveness of the treatment plant caused by high frequency of backwashing, the Central Water Authority has appointed a consultant in September 2016 to provide consultancy engineering services for a feasibility study on the rehabilitation and extension of La Nicolière treatment plant. The terms of reference of the consultant were mainly to carry out a feasibility study for the rehabilitation of La Nicolière treatment plant and the extension of its capacity to 100,000 meter cube per day and for the associated works. And two, to implement a system allowing the raw water quality monitoring at La Nicolière and Midlands Dam level. Mr. Speaker, sir, the consultant had submitted the inception report, feasibility report, a concept design report, and a draft bid document for the rehabilitation and extension of La Nicollière water treatment plant to the Central Water Authority in June 2019. The cost of the rehabilitation and extension of La Nicollière water treatment plant was estimated by the consultant to be to the tune of 1.2 billion rupees, excluding VAT. It was then decided to implement for the rehabilitation and extension of La Nicollière treatment plant and associated works under a build, operate, transfer, BOT, with the assistance of the BOT projects unit of the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development. The project was registered as a potential BOT project in September 2019. Mr. Speaker, sir, the works would consist of 1. The refurbishment of the chemical storage dosage facilities, sludge treatment, SCADA system, regulation of chemical dosage, automatic monitoring of water quality, automatic backwashing of the sand filters, and chlorine neutralization facilities associated with the chlorination house. 2. Extension works will comprise mainly the following: new additional coagulation flocculation tanks to complete the existing ones, a new rapid flotation stage of algae elimination, another complementary coagulation flocculation stage with pre-chlorination and powdered activated carbon if presence of cyanotoxins detected in the raw water, a new sedimentation stage in new implemented settling tanks, new additional rapid gravity sand filters to complete the existing ones, a new additional treated water tank to complete the existing one, a new additional sludge treatment to complete the existing one, and a new additional drying beds to complete the existing ones. The financial assistance of the Development Bank of Southern Africa, DBSA, has been obtained for the appointment of a transaction advisor for the BOT project. The government of Mauritius, for its part, has to contribute 500,000 USD towards the development of the project. Fund has been provided in budget 2022-2023. A project preparation facility agreement has been signed by the DBSA and the Central Water Authority on the 24th November 2021. The transaction advisory bid document is being drafted, and same is expected to be launched in October 2022 for the recruitment of a transaction advisor who will assist the Central Water Authority to prepare the bid documents for construction works. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
In regards to the multiple water supply problem since several years, which are being faced by several promoters, is the Minister aware that there are hundreds of applications pending at the Central Water Authority, Pamplemousses, for the water supply clearances? And if yes, state what immediate action is being taken by his ministry to address this problem.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the question put to me is with regard to treatment of water at La Nicollière, whereas the supplementary ask deals with requests for water supply in the northern region. These had to be treated separately. In fact, Mr. Speaker, sir, we are addressing the water shortage problem in the northern region with several initiatives that have been taken over the past months at the level of the CWA, and we are trying to tackle the problem in the short term and medium term, where we are tapping raw water, Mr. Speaker, sir, and treating it through pressure filters. As at today, we have injected a total of 31,000 meter cube per day of water in the system at different regions of the north in view to cope with the increasing demand of water supply in that region. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Can the Minister inform the House if clearances have been given to New Social Living Development Limited or National Housing Development Company Limited prior to start construction of the 12,000 housing unit?
Mr. Speaker, sir, you will agree with me that this is not related. I don't have this information with me, but if need be, I'll give the answer to the Honourable Member at a later stage, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you.
The table is advised that PQB 808, 810, 827, 854, 835 have been withdrawn. Next question.
B784.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I understand that the term eviction in the Honourable Gentleman's question refers to action taken by my ministry to remove illegal occupiers on state land, although the question itself does not refer either to illegal occupation or to state land. In fact, the Ministry of Housing and Land Use Planning acts on behalf of the Government of Mauritius to remove illegal structures of whatsoever nature erected on land in the public domain in pursuance of the State Lands Act. It is to be noted that removal of illegal structures is also carried out by other public authorities, such as local government authorities or forestry services, amongst others. Public land is a scarce resource in Mauritius, and it has been the policy of all governments since independence to enforce the rule of law and to ensure the maintenance of law and order, including with reference to land occupation. It has also been the policy of the State of Mauritius to provide social housing to families in need as ascertained by relevant services through the Central Housing Authority, replaced in 1991 by the National Housing Development Company Limited and by the National Social Living Development Company Limited since 2019. No information is available regarding evictions for the year 2019. However, there was one important instance of removal of illegal structures on state land in 2020, which I gave details thereof in response to PQ B/88 of 9th June 2020 from Honourable Ariane Navarre-Marie and PQ B/977/6 of 24th November 2020 from Honourable Armance. In that year, Mr. Speaker, sir, the country was in lockdown as from 23rd of March 2020, further to a curfew order providing that only persons performing essential services could leave their homes. Further to information provided by concerned citizens, my ministry carried out inspections in early May that revealed that illegal structures had been erected in breach of the curfew order and with total disregard for public safety in times of COVID. Such illegal structures were discovered in the localities of Pointe-aux-Sables, Riambel, Kyopip, Le Morne, and Brado National Park. Most of these structures were found to be uninhabited when notices to vacate were served by my ministry. However, after were served or were affixed by my ministry. However, after affixing of such notices, the numbers of illegal structures multiplied, and a great number of these structures were occupied, presumably to prevent removal of the structures by officers of my ministry. Thus, for example, at Pointe-aux-Sables, the numbers increased from 29 structures, of which only 9 were occupied on 9th and 10th of May 2020, to 159, of which 67 were occupied by 27th of May, 2 weeks. In the circumstances, government took decisive action to remove some 159 illegal structures in the 5 above-mentioned localities at the end of May and in early June 2020 for the following reasons. One, firstly, numbers of illegal structures were increasing exponentially, and the situation threatened to get out of hand, and the implications that individuals could take advantage of the lockdown to seize whatever land was unoccupied, whether private or public around the island, was very dangerous. In fact, within 2 weeks, there had been 170 illegal structures, whereas for the whole period 2015 to 2019, there were less than 300 cases of illegal occupation. Secondly, in the case of Pointe aux Sables, for example, the site squatted was classified as coastal freshwater marshy land and an environmental sensitive area where no building is allowed for safety reasons. Third, failure to remove illegal structures would have been tantamount to condoning a blatant violation of the curfew order, thereby undermining the ability of the state to protect the population as the COVID pandemic spread. Fourthly, failure to remove illegal structures there and then would have caused even greater hardship to occupiers if eviction had been effected at a later stage. And fifth, allowing illegal occupation constitutes a great injustice to poor people experiencing housing problems and who have abided by the law, registering with either the NHDC or the National Empowerment Foundation, and who have been waiting in the queue for allocation of a social housing unit. It is to be noted that prior to any removal of illegal structures in that year, an interministerial team, including officers from the ministries entrusted with responsibility for social integration, health, education, family welfare, local government, as well as my ministry, together with the Office of the Ombudsperson for Children, carried out a comprehensive survey to identify genuine hardship cases in need of urgent assistance. Thereafter, the NHDC collaborated with non-governmental organizations to monitor the situation of these hardship cases and to facilitate their rehousing on private premises. At a later stage, they were considered together with other extreme hardship cases referred to the NHDC or the NEF by various NGOs. The precise number of former squatters having relocated to a private dwelling and having subsequently benefited from social housing is being ascertained from the NHDC. But I know for a fact that several families, formerly from Pointe aux Sables, Riambel or Kyopep, have at a later stage, after they relocated to private premises and fulfilled the requirements, they have been allotted social housing units. Let me stress that it remains government policy that no person in illegal occupation of land in the public domain is entitled to benefit from a social housing unit while he remains in such illegal occupation. Numbers of evictions of persons in illegal occupation of state land after June 2020 to date is not immediately available and will be ascertained, but I wish to inform the House that after the experience of May-June 2020, a special unit has been created at the NHDC to which all cases of illegal residential structures are referred for investigation prior to removal of any such structures. The priority of government remains to assist families in need and to provide adequate housing to the homeless and distressed while ensuring the essential task of maintaining law and order in the country.
Thank you. Au vu que la question du problème de logement ne date pas d'hier et que c'est un problème qui ne va pas être résolu, en raison de sa complexité, le Premier ministre adjoint peut-il nous dire pourquoi son ministère n'envisage-t-il pas de créer un registre national afin de mieux gérer ce problème, surtout pour les familles qui sont en situation de précarité?
Alors, plusieurs registres nationaux existent. D'abord, la National Empowerment Foundation, sous la responsabilité de ma collègue, la ministre de l'Intégration sociale, travaille en étroite collaboration avec les services sociaux pour enregistrer les demandes en matière de logement des familles en grande difficulté. Et d'ailleurs, 10% de tous les projets de construction de logements sociaux, et cela concerne aussi les nouveaux projets, consacrent, donc 10% vont à la National Empowerment Foundation. Le deuxième registre est celui de la NHDC, qui récolte toutes les demandes des familles qui voudraient obtenir un logement social. Vous vous souviendrez que pour la première fois, l'an dernier, nous avons demandé et obtenu une mise à jour de ce registre qui indique qu'il y avait à ce moment-là dans les 30 000 demandeurs. Et ce chiffre ne fait qu'augmenter à mesure que les gens réalisent que le gouvernement entreprend un énorme projet de construction de logements sociaux. Cela incite d'autres familles à venir déposer leurs demandes auprès de la NHDC. L'objectif du gouvernement avec les 12 000 logements sociaux sera précisément de répondre à une grande partie de cette demande. Donc, en troisième lieu, le ministère du Logement s'efforce de répertorier tous les cas de structures illégales. Évidemment, ces personnes ne vont pas aller rapporter aux autorités le fait qu'elles soient en occupation illégale d'un terrain d'État. Mais néanmoins, le ministère s'efforce de le faire. Cela n'est pas évident. Nous avons des structures résidentielles, c'est-à-dire où habitent des familles. Et je dis bien, je ne parle pas de maisons, je parle de structures. Et il y a aussi des structures qui servent à autre chose qu'à loger des familles. Le ministère du Logement, c'est son travail, s'efforce de mettre à jour constamment la liste de ces structures, ces occupations illégales répertoriées.
Le Premier ministre adjoint, peut-il nous dire si c'est la politique d'allouer un lopin de terre aux squatteuses qui occupaient les terrains de l'État existe toujours et dans des cas de précarité?
Non, cela n'a pas été le cas depuis très longtemps. En fait, monsieur le député se souviendra que le nouveau régime élu en 2014 avait décidé de la régularisation de tous les cas de squatting d'avant 2015. Et du nombre répertorié alors, plus des 2/3 ont été relogés ou attribués le terrain qu'elles occupaient. Les autres cas sont des cas plus difficiles dont le traitement est toujours en cours. Mais ce n'est pas la politique de l'État d'attribuer un terrain quelconque à une famille du fait qu'elle soit en situation d'occupation illégale du domaine public.
Next question.
B785. Mr. Speaker, sir, the current treatment for hepatitis C or Hep C is based on the drug Epclusa, which is a prescription medicine used in chronic hepatitis C, genotype 1-6 infection with or without cirrhosis. The treatment regimen is 1 tablet of Epclusa daily for 12 weeks with a cure rate of 98%. Patients who fail treatment with Epclusa are administered the drug Volsevi, which has the same treatment regimen but with a cure rate of 100%. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to Part B of the question, I wish to inform the House that Gilead Sciences donated 9,000 units of pan-genotype Epclusa and 450 units with allowance up to 900 units of Vosevi worth 3 billion rupees in October 2019, Gilead Sciences delivered the first consignment of Eclipsa, and Suivez and my ministry kickstart the National Hepatitis C Elimination Program under the umbrella of a national committee. Mr. Speaker, sir, since the donation, my ministry has worked out strategies to meet the expectations of Gilead Sciences in achieving elimination of hepatitis C in Mauritius. Since 2019, the number of treatment centers of hepatitis C has increased from 1 to 24, with treatment now being delivered in Rodrigue Islands as well. The number of doctors assigned to the hepatitis C elimination program has been increased from 1 to 4, and nursing staff has been enforced from 6 to 11 since 2019. With a dedicated team and more treatment centers, there has been an increased uptake of patients in Mauritius as well as in Rodrigues. As at date, 4,403 patients with hepatitis C have been registered on our database. From 2005 to 2019, conventional treatment with PEG, interferon, and ribafavin were used for patients with hepatitis C, with a cure rate of only 30%. In addition, the treatment was limited to those patients who acquired the virus through blood transfusion in our hospitals. During these 14 years, that is from 2005 to 2019, prior to the donation of the medications by Gilead Sciences, only 100 patients had been treated. Since the donation, in a span of less than 3 years, from end of 2019 to now, 1,077 patients have already completed their treatment. An additional of 742 patients are currently on treatment in our 24 treatment centers across the island. Mr. Speaker, sir, as matters stands, my ministry has already exhausted almost 70% of the Eclipsa drug and 30% of the Suivez drug. Regular meetings are held by the National Committee with Gilead Sciences to report on the progress of the hepatitis C elimination program. Based on the current rate of treatment, it is expected that Mauritius would be the first country in Africa to achieve elimination of hepatitis C. I would like to remind the House that the donation by Gilead Services is a result of a meeting between Honorable Prime Minister Pravin Kumar Jugnauth and the directors of this biotech company in January 2020 in the UK.
Can we know from Honorable Minister how many tests are carried out per year for hepatitis C, and can the Honorable Minister share how the screening procedures are carried out? Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. In year 2021, the Virology Department analyzed 32,189 samples of hepatitis C using the ELISA method, and 1,288 samples using the Western blot method, and 1,819 using the viral load by GeneXpert. For the period 2022 to March 2022, the Virology Department carried out 7,726 sample analysis using the ELISA method, 230 using the Western blot method, and 907 via the GeneXpert. Concerning the National Blood Transfusion Service, the number of tests for hepatitis C from January to December 2021 amounted to 46,072, and the number of tests for hepatitis C carried out, that is from January to May this year, amounted to 20,056 tests.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, can the Honourable Minister provide details pertaining to the cost of treatment for each patient, please? Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. The treatment for one patient with the drug Epclusa costs around £50,000 in the UK. That is approximately Mauritian rupees 2,680,000 rupees. Each patient also requires 2 PCR tests, which cost around 3,000 Mauritian rupees. A course of treatment with Vosevi costs around £80,000 in UK. That is approximately 4,289,000 rupees in the Mauritian currency.
Thank you. Honourable Minister has mentioned that around 1,000 patients have been treated already by the donation given by Gilead Sciences. Can Honourable Minister inform the House how many patients will effectively be treated by this donation? Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. So the 9,000 bottles of Eclipsa and 450 bottles or vials of Vosevi, an allowance up to 900 bottles, were donated by the Gilead Sciences. Now, 3 bottles of each drug is used for a treatment regimen. So in all, 3,000 patients would be treated with Epclusa and 150 patients to 300 patients eventually if required, and who fail treatment with Eclipsa and can be treated with Vosevi. So if we have, as per the database, around 4,000 patients, and we already have drugs for 3,000 patients, so it means that our campaign to eliminate hepatitis C in Mauritius is foreseeable, and that can happen in the next few years.
Thank you very much. The number is quite alarming. Can I ask the Honourable Minister, what is the incidence of hepatitis C and hepatitis B in the population? If he has these figures, or else he can communicate to us at a later stage.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the number is not alarming, because it is not alarming because we are doing the test. In fact, we should find it a way how to detect these cases, because these cases are not detected by any simple test, and there are no symptoms in the beginning of the disease. So it's very good to have a wide screening. The wide screening will allow us to detect these cases. As I've already given in my reply, how tests and screening are being carried out, what is the volume of tests being carried out, that is how we are going to get all the patients suffering from hepatitis C. And in the way that the campaign is going, and according to how the experts are working in that, and what placed on us, that is Gilead Sciences, what they have in fact placed on us, confiance that allowed us to work, more, so that we'll be able to achieve this target and be the first country in the African region to be hepatitis free.
Next question.
786.
Mr. Speaker, sir, with regards to the Old Grand River Northwest Bridge, I'm informed by the National Heritage Fund that the bridge has been designated as a national heritage under Section 12 of the National Heritage Fund Act 2003 since June 1989. The Old Grand River Northwest Bridge is vested in the RDA, the Road Development Authority, and the maintenance thereof also rests with the Road Development Authority as per Section 3C of the Road Development Authority Act. Moreover, as per Section 14 of the NHF Act 2003, the maintenance and repairs of a designated national heritage rests with the owner. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Old Grand River Northwest Bridge was constructed in the 1960s, and given the complexity of the works for its restoration and renovation, the services of a consultant will be required in the first instance to assess the state of the bridge, and thereafter to make recommendations as appropriate for its restoration. I'm informed by the RDA that this project is for the time being not in the pipeline for this financial year. And according to information obtained from both the National Heritage Fund and the RDA, The old bridge is no longer being used by four-wheelers since 1985, following constructions of the new bridge, as it cannot sustain heavy loads. Presently, the bridge is being used only by pedestrians and two-wheelers.
Nous sommes témoins tous les jours d'actes de vandalisme, passage illégal, occupation illégale sur le vieux pont. Pouvez-vous me dire s'il y a eu un rapport qui a été fait pour faire un constat du pont? Il me semble que le pont tombe en ruine de jour en jour.
I'm not privy to any report being conducted or any assessment that has been recently conducted, but I can reassure members that the National Heritage Fund will go ahead with a survey exercise just to bring to light if there is any vandalism being conducted.
Puisque le pont est protégé, considéré comme patrimoine national, savez-vous qu'il y a du illegal dumping tous les jours autour du pont et que certains terrains en friche projettent une mauvaise image du pont? Pouvez-vous faire le nécessaire auprès de vos collègues pour remédier à la situation?
Certainly, Mr. Speaker, sir, if there are any issues, we will take it up. But let me reiterate that when it comes to maintenance or repair of a designated national heritage, same rests with the owner, which is the RDA.
Monsieur le ministre, est-ce que vous allez considérer un projet d'embellissement autour du pont? Parce que l'image, je répète, l'image que projette le vieux pont actuellement est catastrophique, pour ne pas dire dégueulasse. Donc, je vous demanderai de bien vous entretenir avec vos collègues ministres pour faire de sorte que ce patrimoine national est valorisé, pas laissé à l'abandon comme c'est le cas actuellement. Merci.
May be considered, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Bouncing back on what my honourable colleague just said, is there any project at the level of the National Heritage Fund to make use of that bridge, for tourist purposes, or to encourage school children to go and visit that bridge, which has a long history? So, is there any project by the ministry of with regard to this bridge?
À ce stade, Monsieur le Président, for this financial year, there is no project in the pipeline as regards the bridge. But again, we take on board the proposal of Honourable Member and say may be considered by National Heritage Fund and principally by the RDA, which is the owner of the bridge.
Next question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, B787.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the contract for the construction of the new Cas Noyal Fisheries Post was awarded to the contractor New Horizon Builders Limited by the Ministry of National Infrastructure and Community Development, and the contract agreement was signed on 19 September 2019. The handing over of the site to the contractor was effected on 21st November 2019. Mr. Speaker, sir, the coronavirus pandemic has wreaked havoc on countless industries, and construction was no exception. I'm informed that the construction of the new Cas Noyal Fisheries Post was initially scheduled to be completed on 1st July 2020 and had been delayed due to the unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic. The contractor was granted extensions as the project could not be completed on time due to the first and second wave of COVID-19 national lockdowns. Following completion of 100% of the project, the final handing over of the site to my ministry was done on 3rd September 2021. Mr. Speaker, sir, with a view to creating a model fisheries post at Cas Noyal, additional new facilities have been provided to the fisher community in the region as follows. A, supply and installation of 50 mooring buoys using ecological pins at Cas Noyal, which means each fisher will have a dedicated mooring buoy to moor his fishing boat. This eco-friendly project will prevent the fishers from using all sorts of gears, thus protecting the corals and other marine life on the sea ground. B, supply and installation of 2 sets of navigational aids with solar light at La Paz Harmonie. This has enhanced the security of artisanal fishers in the navigable channel when they set out for fishing outside the lagoon. Again, a provision of a dedicated structure for boat owners residing far away from the jetty to keep their outboard motors safe in a secure place in the compound of the Cas Noyal Fisheries Post. Mr. Speaker, sir, in addition to the above-mentioned projects, the supply and installation of solar lamps at the jetty at Cas Noyal has been awarded and is expected to be completed by end of September 2022. Also, the construction of a slipway to ease removal of fishing boats during cyclonic weather is also being contemplated. Mr. Speaker, sir, still in remembrance of late Mr. Aimé Lamarck, once the doyen of fishers of Cas Noyal and the first chairman of the Fishermen Welfare Fund, will also be constructed near the jetty. All going well, the official opening of the Cas Noyal Fisheries Post is scheduled for October 2022.
And the Honourable Minister informed the House what was the contract amount and state if there has been any cost overrun regarding the construction of the new Cas Noyal Fisheries Post.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the contract for the construction of the new Cas Noyal Fisheries Post was awarded to the contractor New Horizon Builders Limited, as I mentioned, for the sum of 16,742,390 rupees. I'm informed that there was no cost overrun on the project.
The Honourable Minister mentioned the 50 mooring buoys and the ecological pins. Can he give us more information about that? What was the contract amount for the supply and installation of those?
Mr. Speaker, sir, this is the first of its kind. I wish to inform the House that the supply and installation of the 50 mooring means ecological buoys and the 2 sets of navigational aids at La Passamoni has been funded by the UNDP for the total sum of 4,678,200 rupees.
The Honourable Minister give us more details about the project for the supply and installation of solar lamps at the jetty at Cas Noyal?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. As stated in my reply, the supply and installation of 6 solar lamps at the jetty at Cas Noyal has been awarded and is expected to be completed by end of September 2022. And we're waiting for the completion of this project for the opening. In fact, I see this opportunity to inform the House and the Fisher Committee that the project of solar light in the jetties around Mauritius, this will be replicated around the island also.
Next question.
B788. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed by the National Development Unit that the contract for the construction of a drain network in the region of Maibo, which includes Ramnarayan Lane, Gopala Lane, Goodwin Lane, Dollar Lane 1, Dollar Lane 2, and Ganpat Lane, commonly known as Chemin d'Hôpital, was awarded to Sotravic Limited on the 12th April 2021. Mr. Speaker, sir, the start date was on 24th May 2021, and works were expected to be completed by 20th November 2021. The scope of works comprised mainly the demolition of existing absorption drain, the construction of reinforced concrete drain, and the resurfacing of the roads. It is to be pointed out that all clearances from service providers, including CWA, had been obtained prior to the start of works. However, at a meeting held with the CWA on the 29th July 2021, the latter indicated that the pipeline network in the whole region of Maibo dates back to 50 years and was frequently bursting. Accordingly, other NDU was undertaking drain projects, including reinstatement works in the region I mentioned earlier. A request was made to explore the possibility to renew the old defective pipelines at relevant locations in that region. These works, which did not form part of the original scope of works, had to be effected prior to the laying of the storm water drains and the road resurfacing works. The CWA works involve excavation, pipe laying, and backfilling along a stretch of 1.7 kilometers, including connection to 416 households. Mr. Speaker, sir, the completion of the project was therefore delayed, mainly due to these CW works, late supply and delivery of pipes and fitting by CWA, and the inclement weather. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed that as at date, all CWA works and drain works, except for 100 meters of drain along Gopala Lane, have been completed. The remaining drain works and road resurfacing work for the whole network are expected to be completed by the 31st of July 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Can we know from the Honourable Minister what is the contract amount for the drain works carried along the network he mentioned, and if there's been any additional cost incurred as a consequence of works undertaken by CWA, as he just mentioned? Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the contract amount was 34 million inclusive of VAT, and variation works regarding any additional works, will be contained within the project value of 34 million rupees. And we have a contribution of 7.9 million rupees from the CWA for the civil work, pipe laying, and supply of fittings. Thank you.
You had a question? Go ahead. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Can the Honourable Minister inform the House if there have been any official complaints by inhabitants of the networks there, Gopala Lane, Dula Lane, Rue Bambou, pertaining to the delay in the works?
Yes, obviously, Mr. Speaker, sir, des travaux de cette envergure causent toujours des inconvénients aux habitants de la région, mais je dois dire que quand même, moi-même et mes deux collègues, nous sommes descendus sur le terrain, nous sommes allés à la rencontre des habitants, nous les avons expliqués, et je dois dire qu'ils sont quand même très coopératifs, et ils remercient le gouvernement et le Premier ministre pour ces travaux qui ont été faits.
Next question. B789.
Monsieur le Président, lors de la visite de l'honorable Premier ministre en Inde, en novembre 2019, des réunions ont eu lieu avec le gouvernement indien pour financer, entre autres, plusieurs projets relatifs à la sécurité et à la sûreté maritime. En conséquence, le gouvernement indien a mis à disposition une ligne de crédit de 100 millions de dollars pour l'acquisition d'équipements liés à la défense qui comprend un Passenger Variant Donor et un Advanced Light Helicopter. L'accord a été signé le 19 février 2021 entre le gouvernement mauricien et l'Export-Import Bank of India, l'Exim Bank, pour l'achat de 32 équipements de défense en Inde. À ce jour, les deux items prioritaires suivants ont déjà été achetés. Un Passenger Variant Donor au coût de 11,6 millions de dollars américains. Le montant a été entièrement payé au fournisseur Hindustan Aeronautic Limited et l'appareil a été livré à la police mauricienne en avril 2022. Un Advanced Light Helicopter pour un montant de 17,7 millions de dollars à ce jour, un montant de 6,2 millions de dollars américains a été déboursé à Hindustan Aeronautic Limited. L'hélicoptère est actuellement en cours de fabrication et sa livraison est prévue vers mars 2023. Le Passenger Variant Donor et un Advanced Light Helicopter renforceront les capacités opérationnelles de la police mauricienne pour, entre autres, lutter contre le trafic de drogue et la pêche illégale dans nos eaux territoriales, accroître la surveillance aérienne dans et autour des îles de la République de Maurice, ainsi que pour les évacuations médicales d'urgence depuis nos îles extérieures. Monsieur le Président, j'ai été informé que les mesures nécessaires ont déjà été prises pour l'achat des articles de défense restant sur la ligne de crédit mise à notre disposition par le gouvernement de l'Inde par l'intermédiaire de l'Exim Bank. À cet effet, un comité de suivi du projet présidé par le commissaire de police a été mis en place afin de s'assurer du suivi de l'achat de ces articles dans les délais impartis. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
I ask the Honourable Minister, this loan of, at today's rate,
4.5 billion rupees. Was it negotiated at a preferential terms, preferential rate of interest? Because according to a press article of l'Express dated the 5th May of this year, 75% du loan amount devront être consacrés à l'achat d'équipements de défense auprès des industriels indiens. Donc, le loan, il y avait une clause dans le contrat que le loan devrait être utilisé auprès des industriels indiens. Donc, est-ce qu'on a eu ce loan dans un taux préférentiel et avec des termes qui sont avantageux au pays?
Monsieur le Président, je tiens à rassurer l'honorable membre que les termes et les conditions liées à ce prêt sont extrêmement favorables. Je vais simplement parler qu'il y a, par exemple, un moratoire de 7 ans dans ce loan, donc qui est très avantageux pour Maurice. Le taux est fixé à 1,8% par an, ce qui est très, très raisonnable par rapport au taux qu'il y a actuellement sur le marché. Merci.
How much has been utilized in the loan amount and consequently the balance left?
Donc, nous avons déjà utilisé presque 18 millions de dollars, 17,8 précisément. Donc, il nous reste la différence sur 100 millions de dollars.
I know from the Honourable Minister of Finance whether the priority today of this government is to invest in security equipment, indebting. Already we have more than 100% debt of our GDP. Does the Honourable Minister of Finance find that the priority of this government should be to incur additional debt to get security equipment?
Monsieur le Président, sans entrer dans un débat concernant la politique de ce gouvernement, je tiens simplement à rappeler à l'honorable membre que ces équipements sont liés au combat contre la drogue, cher à ce gouvernement. Donc oui, nous allons continuer à investir et je tiens aussi à préciser que le taux d'endettement de ce pays est loin d'être à 100%. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
So, honourable members, I'll suspend the sitting for 1.5 hours. Enjoy your